Good morning, happy Easter. It's Easter Sunday. 3 weeks ago I did my first garden update, whatever, in spring is my first video. So I told y'all I'd come back. I know there hasn't been very many views, but I'm just showing the progression, especially for my friends and family, because no one's coming to my house at this time with everything going on. So anyways, this is what it looks like 3 weeks later. We got, there's a cassava here that I've planted right after I made that video. It's grown quite a bit. And then the sunflowers are doing pretty good. They're the Russian mammoths. I'm gonna step in here. The corn's looking okay. I've had a big issue with caterpillars. They're definitely my arch foe in the whole vegetable garden this year. They've been going, the butterflies or moths have been planting their eggs down inside the stalk, and they eat it out before it actually gets a chance to grow. But these are the zucchinis. We've already harvested several zucchinis off these plants. There's one here that the flower fell off of yesterday, and I hand pollinated it, so it should be growing. But there's that one. This one hasn't produced yet. This one, there's one right there. There's several more, female flowers coming in, so we're real happy with those. Then we've got the boniato sweet potato there, and the bush beans. This particular variety of bush beans I'm not super happy with. I mean, they're growing okay, but they're just not performing as well as I would have hoped, and they gave me a lot of trouble pretty much ever since the time that they germinated. And I thought that maybe it was because it was still kind of chilly. But since then I've germinated more, and they're still giving me the same issue, so not super happy with them. These are the beets here. They're the Detroit dark red beets, which, if you see here, they're starting to bulb up. Okay, they're, maybe a golf ball, maybe a little bit smaller still. We got a couple weeks yet to go on those. These are my snow peas. Super tasty. I just eat them, don't even let them get in the house. These are some of the yard long beans growing in. They had just started to germinate the last video that I made. And then my greens. The greens are just ridiculous. I mean, if you did see the last video, I said that I was going to harvest that day, and I did. And then again the next week I did a super hard harvest, and made a huge pot of greens that we ate on for the whole week, as well as was able to blanch and freeze some to save. But I mean, look at these mustard greens here. Look at the size of that leaf. I mean, it's really big, and there's probably other big ones as well. But we got the mustard greens. We've got collard greens, which some of those have huge leaves too. I mean, that's, these are big leaves on these collard greens. And then the red Russian kale, the dinosaur kale. I mean, they're planted really close together, so some of them, I mean, I've got big hands. I'm almost 6'1". I've got pretty big hands. These are some really big kale leaves. But we plant them close together, so some of them, like this one's not performing that well. But yeah, the dinosaur kale, more collards doing really good, and those were the ones I harvested the hardest. I'm actually going to harvest them again today. The curly kale, which is actually a dwarf variety, so I'm going to harvest all the greens today. Make another big pot of collards. I caught a real nice catfish yesterday in the river, and I'm going to fry that up for supper for Easter with a big pot of greens and some tater salad. So, and then the kale I'll probably turn into kale chips because we like that. Then we've got these tomatoes. I think the last video, you know, there was some flowers but really no fruit yet. These are my Cherokee purples, and there are tomatoes. There's more tomatoes over there. There's more tomatoes right here. And these are my favorite. They're super sweet, they're purple, and they grow really well. Hasn't gotten too much more height on it, but I know a lot of the energy is going into the fruit, and the more that the plant matures, you know, it'll get through it, and after some of those first fruits mature, the plant will really shoot back up, especially as long as you keep feeding it. This one I'm not happy with. I thought it was a better boy, but I looked the other day and it's actually a better bush is what they call it. Quotations, better bush. I guess that's a dwarf variety or patio variety something, so it's not going to get super big, and it hasn't really done much. It's got one big tomato on it right now, but I'm just not happy with it. I definitely won't plant that again. I'm thinking about pulling it out as soon as that matures. Then we've got the cherry tomatoes. This is the Husky Cherry Red, and it's just doing amazing. I've got a bunch of tomatoes there, a bunch of tomatoes there. There's a bunch there, a bunch there, a bunch forming there. I mean, this plant's doing really well. It's probably, you know, getting close to 4 feet tall now. Tons of tomatoes, super thick, healthy stalks. I mean, you know, that's just, oh, there's more tomatoes there. There's flowers everywhere. I come out and kind of pollinate them every day, but super healthy, super happy with it. Then my early girl as well. This is 4.5 feet tall, and it's right on up to the top today. It's grown amazing. So, and if you look in here, there's nice tomatoes there, there's tomatoes there. I've got tomatoes hanging off the side here, flowers everywhere. There's more tomatoes in there. I mean, as you see, this plant's really just doing really well. Super happy with it. My carrots, I don't expect too much from these carrots. They've been really slow, but I'm leaving them in, see what happens. I pulled up all the radishes from last time, and I've put in new, these are okra. There's another okra over there. The okra's on the corners, and then I put in new bush beans. And like I said, I'm not super happy with them. A lot of them came up with no leaves. They just open up, but there's no leaves, and then they die back. And then also I'm having cutworm issues, but that's organic gardening. You have issues like that. There's another sunflower right here, and then the yard-long beans here are doing really well. I'm gonna grow them up and trellis them across the whole thing. Oh look, that one actually took off on its own. I didn't even do that. Look at that. And that wasn't like that yesterday. Fantastic. There's a ripe little blueberry right there. Blueberry bushes, I've been eating on those. A ton of new growth on the star fruit. Like, all these little branches are all brand new. This was just one single stalk last year, so really excited about getting some more fruit off of that. We got some last year. Here's the cassava that in the last video wasn't even popping out of the ground yet. The olive tree now, I'm holding this at my head height. It's now taller than me, and the guavas are even taller now. Before they were just a little taller than me, now they're much taller than me. This is that blueberry bush that I had trimmed back, and it just looked like sticks, and I told you guys that it looked like it was about to explode with life. Well, I was right. You just got to give them water and some food and they'll be happy. There's another cassava there. They're growing really well. You don't want to give them too much water. These are the two patty pan squash. that I had, they were just tiny little seedlings in the last video. There's some more of the bush beans there. I went ahead and put my mulberry in the ground. That is a gandule, or a pigeon pea. And there's another one right here as well. I grew these from seed, and it should be about 3 or 4 months before they produce, but I'm gonna train it into being a nice high bush or tree. There's another cassava. It's doing really well. Then this raised bed wasn't here the last time that I made a video, so I'll run through that. That's another patty pan squash, marigolds. Then I've got 2 orange habaneros grown from seed, 2 Carolina Reapers grown from seed, 2 Trinidad Moruga scorpions grown from seed, and then those 2 are the chocolate habaneros grown from seed. We've also got 2 poblano peppers and 2 serrano peppers, and then there's little green onions growing in between everything. And if you notice, I've got a bunch of rabbit pellets around some of these, because if you didn't know, rabbit manure is the only type of manure from animals that you can put directly onto your garden and it won't burn them. It's not considered a hot manure, so it kind of, you know, is hard, and as you water it, it softens up, breaks down slowly. It's kind of like a really good slow release fertilizer. So then here I've got the bed that you guys saw last time, that all these had just, all the peppers were just put in, and the carrots, beets, and radishes had just barely started to germinate. I'm actually going to pull these radishes out today. Let's pull a couple out. So I guess this will be like my grown-up Easter egg hunting right here, you know. Got a couple different varieties. This one's called a French breakfast. This one's called a sparkler white tip. So we really enjoy these radishes, and I also give the tops to a rabbit. So, and the carrots are doing way better in this bed than they're doing in the ground over there. I'm sure that this soil's a bit more fertile. Beets are looking really well as well, really good. And then these peppers, I gotta give you guys some advice. These 4 jalapenos here, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a banana there, which if you look, the banana pepper actually has some really nice peppers on it already. And then these are the bells, which the bells were already smaller anyways, and they've also been getting crowded out by these radishes. But top your pepper plants. I mean, if you live up north and you have a short season and you don't want to do it, I'm not going to argue with you. But if you live down here in Zone B or in Florida, where you can grow peppers for a long time, top your plants. It's kind of hard to do the first couple times you do it, because you see a couple flowers, you get really excited, and you want to just let them go. You're not going to get very many peppers. It's just not going to happen. You're going to have one singular stem that's pretty lanky, a few peppers on it. When I made my last video, and this has just been 3 weeks, right here where this is cut, that little white point, that's how tall that plant was. And it was one singular stem, just like this one here, just like this one was right here. Anyways, so what I did is you top them. If any flowers form, you pull them off, because the plant doesn't have a strong root system yet, and all of the energy is going to go to producing those fruits. If you top it, I mean, this is amazing. This is very fast for just 3 weeks, but it has turned into a bush. This whole stem here grew in 3 weeks. This one, this one, this one. I mean, literally, instead of just being one, you know, single stem, I've got 5 or 6 nice stems. It's going to be more of a bush. It's going to be stronger. It's going to produce a heck of a lot more fruits. Also, this is another zucchini. This one probably a couple more days. I've been hand pollinating my zucchini. That one will open up tomorrow. Super excited. But the caterpillars, yeah, that's been my big problem. The caterpillars, they're just eating these leaves up. And this is not powdery white mildew. This is just a pattern on the leaves, just so you know. But and I've also got eggplant right there and right there. So everything's doing good over here. Started a new little compost right there because this one's pretty much full and I want to stop adding to it just so it can get to a point where I can use it. Anyways, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like the video, and I'll see y'all later.